Well, it's Tuesday. It's bright. It's sunshiny. Feels good outside. Finally, fall weather has gotten here. It should be because we're 7 games into the high school football season, and that means time for us to talk to Antonio Graham, head football coach at Union. 2 wins in a row, nice wins. Great start at Yukon on a Castellanos hit to begin the game and a touchdown 9 seconds in. Can't ask for a better road trip, can you, Coach?
No, that's the that's what you want, Rick. You want to be able to, be able to travel well for once, and you want to start fast, And so we knew that we had to kind of create our own energy. And how about just starting off with a forced fumble and scoop and score, with a touchdown to start off a football game.
That doesn't
Can't ask
stink
for
right there.
anything.
There's no doubt. Did you get a feeling like bus trip before the game that they were really dialed in?
Yeah, I felt like, nothing against, just learning. I felt like Norman North was a good example. I felt like they're a really good football team, and maybe the way they traveled could have played the effect of how they played against us, And so, just kind of looking back at some of my mistakes that I made in the past, and you always got to keep a foul on you how to win the game and how to lose a game. And I've lost a game before in the past by how we travel on the road and how to, and how to take it as a business trip. And so I really, really encouraged us and made sure we focus on how important it is for us to travel well and to start fast. And so I couldn't be more happier. I'm more proud of our players for starting so fast and handling a road trip like a business trip.
Right. And that you win one at home really nicely. Then you win one on the road really nicely. So you get momentum. But as you
Hmm.
said, you got to learn to win, got to learn to lose, got to learn to handle that momentum too. But it's nice to see it building. How's it been in practice? Has it been a little bit more peppy, that kind of thing? Do you see that
Oh,
momentum rolling?
yes, sir. You always got a little bit more pep in your step, and winning heals people. It it gets people back faster. That's just the truth. And so it makes mom and dad's happy. It makes my life happier. I think that's just the truth of the human nature part of it. And so kids. They seem to buy in more, and like I told you, and they're starting to listen to us a little bit more, and so. This is everything that you hope and you pray about your program where you get a little success and kids start believing you. It's kind of hard to believe a coach whenever you're taking steps backwards and you're losing games. And so they're buying in and they're continuing to work hard. And, obviously we got a big, huge game this week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But we that momentum at the end of the year is so important. Still fighting for playoff spots and for home field and all those kinds of things. And you've got a very big one coming up against a very common opponent. But it's really important to get that role at the right time. You've been on
Absolutely.
teams that had that. Are you getting that feeling?
Yeah, no doubt. I think this is if you ever going to click at all, this is the time to do it. You kind of want to start clicking or getting better and not be at a standstill around playoffs time. And so, I love our strength of schedule that we have. Because having a big game like this, and you got not trying to look ahead. You got Westmore, you got Edmond Memorial. All those games are must-win games, so you have to get better. If you don't get better, Rick, you're gonna find yourself, going hunting or fishing early, and so
Right.
it forces you to continue to play hard and stay locked in. And sometimes as a coach, you can kind of relax, but you can't relax with this at all, which I
No.
love.
No, especially right about now. And I want to ask about Ian Castellanos because he's the guy that caused that fumble, as you mentioned. But he's also, at least in just through my eyes, and I'm with you guys a lot, but I'm also on the road with Tulsa, so I don't see you every Friday. He seems to be as kind of effective at the end of the year as anybody defensively. It seems to me like he's really elevated his game in the last few games. Is that right or not?
No, you're correct. I've kind of challenged him a little bit. Just said, hey, I need more from you. We kind of moved him down closer to the line of scrimmage to that outside nickel spot where he don't have to think a little bit or whatever. And he's used to playing so far back, behind the line of scrimmage. But moving him closer to the football, he's able to make more plays and put himself in positions and make those big tackles and big hits. So he's getting a lot more productive down there. And it also opened up a spot for Dallas Massey to come in and play as a young guy. And he's getting better and better each week as a sophomore. And so all that stuff continues to to give you momentum within this year and continue with the experience for next year as well.
And Ian seems to be the kind of guy who takes to that. Not everybody wants to move down there because you're going to be in a lot more contact, but he doesn't
Hmm.
seem to shy away from that contact. Is he the same guy in practice?
No doubt. He's a quiet kid. He does exactly what you tell him to. He's in competitive. He's very, very competitive. And he's a guy that, I'm looking forward for him to try to lead and to be a leader. No, I think he has that body style to be down there or whatever. So by the head coach's choice and who get to choose personnel, you don't have a choice but to get down there and bang a little bit, and he has goals. He wants to play college football, and that's where maybe he may be at in the future, and so let's go ahead and get you that experience right now and get you ready for it.
Yeah, show him things like Gibbon Robinson, who's now playing an awful lot at the University of Tulsa, and realize you get your chance at not only what everybody's after right about
Hmm.
now, which is
No
NIL
doubt.
money and all
Yeah,
that, but
yeah,
just your chance to go play and get an education and move on from
yes,
there. And
sir.
those dudes are making money right now.
No doubt, absolutely. And you know, Devin Robinson is a great example. He was a free safety in high school, and now he moved down to the nickel spot as well. And he had to put on some weight, and so whatever opportunity coach give you, take it. Just say yes, sir, and that's what Ian did. You know,
Yep.
and he's still on the field.
Who else is playing really well toward the end of the year?
Man, our offensive line has gotten better. Obviously, they're getting better each week. We're protecting a lot better. But pass protection is good, so we're able to move the ball downfield and give Dylan Taylor some time and have a pocket presence for himself. Obviously, he's playing well. Scholar got dinged up a couple weeks ago, and Dylan got an opportunity, and he's performing well. And our linebacker core is always continuing to doing a really good job as well. That front seven defensively, they're playing very well. And Oliver Smith, yeah, Oliver, he's having some good games. He's has guarded, the number one ranked receiver last week against Norman North. He held him down, and then Yukon has number one, he's long, and I can't think of the young man's name, but he's a Division I guy in my opinion, and Oliver did a good job on him. So he's continuing to playing well, and I think once you kind of get one guy continue to raise his level, it
Mhm.
becomes contagious or whatever. So as a whole, the kickoff unit, for an example. We got three stops within one was at the 10. We forced a fumble, and that forced fumble, I'm sorry, Rick, was Tay Perry made the forced fumble and in scooped the score for a touchdown. So
That's
you got our starting running back going down on kickoff, making big hits. You don't see that in today's world, so you can just see there's a kid right there that's buying in to being on the kickoff team, and he's running down. I think he made two stops on kickoff. He's the special teams player of the week, a few weeks ago. So you got guys buying in and playing, not playing for themselves. They're playing for a team, and it's not about me, the selfless football.
Yeah, playing for that name on the front, as they always say. And I had that. You're right. I had that reversed. I had
No,
Ian
you
and
okay?
and
Yep.
and Tay reversed. And you mentioned Dylan, and I'm glad you did because he's in an interesting place when you come in like that as a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have to take that leader spot. But to me, he's played very calmly. And is that the kind of young man he is?
Yeah, no doubt. I think part of that is, the inexperience in the beginning of the year, starting and stuff like this. And now we're getting better at offensive line. Anytime you can sit back there and go to, first look, second look, and boom, third look, and the guy's open, what else best feeling you could? If I was him, I'd be taking that offensive line out for some wings or something, and so, try and invite the head coach with him as well. So, anyways, but no, I think that's the biggest deal of it is that the offensive line has gotten better and they're communicating all across the board. They're reporting out their assignments, and that's always good confidence for the quarterback. So, hats off to those guys up front as well to give them time and protection as well.
They can ask the broadcast team for the wings too, and we'll get a wing choice from you a little later on. But I want to move on over to Broken Arrow. This is a team with a lot of weapons. They use Satemba,
Mm.
of course. They use Roberson, and then Samaj Stanford will play offense. We've seen him do a lot of that. They're not a team that throws it around the yard a lot. They'd rather use their legs to do things. When you look at them, what are you most impressed by?
Obviously they got good athletes. They're physical. They play hard. Once again, this is a staff that I've worked with. Steve Cravers, their defensive coordinator,
Yep,
OTU guy.
yep.
I was with him at Owasso, and he coached here at Union, and their offensive line coach, me, him, Levy Adcock. He's a great friend of mine that we work together. And so I've been going against Jake Wilkinson my whole life. I feel like, so I coached against he coached against me when I was in high school, and he became the offensive coordinator at UCO, and I was at Pitt State. So it seemed like we've been having a freaking battle our whole lives against each other as well. So they're well coached, and they're physical football team, and they got some really good skill guys. But I think we match up with them very well. We know their strengths and we know their weaknesses as well. So I think it'd be a great football game.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing a team that has the kind of offensive firepower they do, a lot of times you hear the pick your poison kind of thing. You're a defensive guy. How do you approach it when they have maybe all three of those guys on the field at the same time? Those are three dudes who are likely to
Mhm.
play college football.
Yes, sir. I think you gotta be aware where they at on the field, whether in the backfield, at receiver, or anywhere. They're out there for a reason. Sometimes it's eye candy, or just to make you think that he's getting the ball or a decoy or whatever. So just being identifying who's out on the field and where they're at, and making sure people talk. There's no secrets. That's the biggest thing. We all know Samaj is out there, but where's he at? Is he at tailback? Is he at the X receiver, the Z? Is he in the slot? Just kind of knowing where guys are at and identifying the red flags, as I call them. And so that's the biggest thing. You got to be able to talk and communicate on games like this.
And that communication, everybody hears communication and culture. They're the two words that are thrown around all the time. And it's
Hmm.
easy for those to become meaningless because you hear them so much. But look, when we're talking about communication in this sense, it's just nothing more than knowing the defense, knowing the call, knowing your
Hmm.
responsibility. And that's harder to get from, say, that offset, that's
Yeah.
field corner,
Yep.
from if he's the opposite. It's so hard to do. It's not easy, is it?
Yep, yeah, it's like it has to start from here all the way across the line, and you have to practice that, and you got to hear as a position coach and as a defensive coordinator, you got to hear those guys talking, and if they're not talking, you gotta address it right then and there. And also there's going to be, 8,000 people at this game. They got to hear you from one side, whether you use hand signals or whatever the case. You got to be able to know that we got the call. So anytime you see us out there talking, you get the head tap, that means we got it. And so I got to see it on film.
Yeah, and I understand that too because it gets pretty chaotic out there, especially when a team starts to go fast. Well,
Yes,
I guess
sir.
the last thing is, all right, so what's your wing choice? When you're going for wings, where does Antonio Graham go for wings?
Oh God, you can't go wrong with Wingstop, obviously. That's just right up the road. But man, I like Elgin wings. Those are freaking good down there at Elgin Park. They got
Yeah.
some really dang good wings, man. And so, but also I go to Milton's just right up the road.
Yes.
They got some good wings there. And so,
People don't understand how good Middleton's 81st and Mingo,
yeah,
and believe me, they're not paying us for this, but they have and they have a wing special. I think it's Wednesday and
yep, they
Sunday.
sure do. They sure
Yes.
do.
It's
Yeah.
not that we've been there together, but we might
No.
go. It's
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
really good. Yeah. Well,
Yep.
if you have a wing special, let us know as well. We'll,
Absolutely.
we'll, we'll talk about wings next week. Until then, I'll see you out there on Friday. Let's go get them.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.